Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna show you my process of disassembling a vintage bike. So as I mentioned earlier, in this video, I'm gonna show you how I am going to approach the disassembling of this vintage Falcon. Bear in mind, this is not a video that is supposed to teach you how to do it. I am not a professional, I'm just a normal guy trying to have fun with bikes, but I'll show you what I do and then it's up to you if you want to do it the same way or if you want to do it differently. And if you think I do something particularly wrong, please just leave a comment down below and tell me how I should do it or if there is a better way to do it. So without further ado, let's crack on and I'll just show you around the bike and show you what are the challenges going forward. So this is my 1970s Falcon, and there are a few challenges that I'm going to encounter with this. One is the rust. So if you look at the components are quite rusty, especially the chain, the sprockets, and the pedals. I've already tried to loosen the pedals up and they seem to be seized. It's not a big issue because I'm not going to use the same pedals or same cranks. So I'm just going to remove the cranks, leave the pedal on. But if it was the case that I was going to reuse them, I would soak them in WD-40, maybe even use a blowtorch to try to heat it up, to try to lose them. Wheel-wise, the front wheel has got a couple of broken spokes, as you can see here. So the wheels are not going to be reused. And the rear wheels, the bearing as well, are a little shot. So those are the things that I think I'll have troubles with. Other than that, let's crack on. So the way I would normally approach these would be to remove anything that is easy to remove, like the wheels, like the bell, the lights, if you had any lights or anything like that. But because I'm not going to reuse the chain, I did remove the chain first. So having the wheels on and the pedals will help keeping some tension on the chain and make it much easier. Now that I have removed the chain, I'm going to proceed with removing the wheels. To do so, I will need a 13mm wrench for the front wheel and a 15mm wrench for the rear. So it's pretty easy, straightforward, just undo the nuts and the wheel should just pop out. There you go. Front one is off and then we'll do the rear one. And the rear wheel is off. So now I'm left with these. I'm going to proceed and just remove and cut all the wires. I'm not going to reuse the wires, so I will just cut them. Okay. Also, as you can see, this is already set up as a one-by bicycle, so it doesn't have front derailleur, and that's going to remain the same. So next, I think the easiest thing to remove right now would be the rear derailleur. So we'll proceed with that. So this is the rear derailleur, and it's basically held on by a 9mm bolt there. The difference between these old ones and the new ones is that the derailleur mount on the new frames is mounted to the bike and the derailleur is bolted in by a bolt around this position. In these old frames, you need to buy an adapter to use more modern derailleurs, which is on the way. And I used that in my previous build as well. So all you have to do is to undo that nut. I'll just hold my hand there so nothing falls on the floor and then just everything gets lost. And then it just come off just like that. So basically, just to show you the other side, this is how it looks. And these just slides into it like that. And then get fixed in place. Moving on, we're going on to the crankset. So in order to remove these, I will just need a 13, maybe 12mm spanner here and on the other side, and there is a pin that goes in and holds it in place. So to do this, I'll need an 11mm spanner. So we'll just go here. Loosen it up. So here I've got my hammer and we'll just hammer it through. There we go. There you go. So the pin is out. As I mentioned before, I'm not going to use this crank, and these and it is pretty knackered, so I'm not too worried about ruining the pin. So otherwise I would have probably left the nut on top of the pin and hammer onto the nut, so I wouldn't ruin the thread. Next thing, we should be able to pull it out. Maybe. So the driver's side is quite tough to come out, so I decided to go onto the non-driving side, and the plan is to take these off and then slide the bottom bracket off onto the driving side. As I mentioned earlier, to save the thread, you can do up the nut a little bit like that, and then you can hammer on top of it. And then you should be able to drive it through without too much strength. Here it comes. So this is the crank on the non-driver side. Then we will have to remove the bottom bracket and slide it. So in order to be able to remove the bottom bracket, I will use this tool, which actually came with my motorbike, and it was a tool to adjust the suspension, but it looks pretty much the same as the proper tool. So there is these slots into the bottom bracket, and you just have to unscrew them. Just remember that if it is English bottom bracket, the non-driver side will be normal thread, but the driver side will be left-hand thread. Where if it is Italian, there will be both normal thread. Just something to keep in mind, because you don't want to tighten it up more and more and more and then ending up ruining either the frame or making it very difficult for you to remove. So after I have removed the retaining ring, it's time to remove the bottom bracket bearing itself, and there is a special tool to do so. So this is the tool in question, and it's the first time I'm actually using this, so we'll work out how it works together. There we go. So it is hard at the beginning, and it's just something to be careful because the pins on the tool are quite small. So what I would suggest to do is just to hold it in with one hand and force it with the other one, help with the frame to kind of do some leverage like that. Once the thread has been loosened up a little bit, it's quite easy to undo it and remove it. So I suspect now I can actually do it by hand. There you go. Here are the ball bearing that are inside the bottom bracket. I'm not going to use any of that, so I'm not worried about losing some of the balls. Going back to the driver's side, I did spray some WD-40, and hopefully that will help. Well, now it is out. So that's the driver's side crankset. So now we need to remove the driver's side shell, and to do that we need another tool. So to remove the shell we need these two. There is a 36mm wrench basically, and it just goes and should fit perfectly on the shell. It was quite hard to start, but once it started undoing, it is pretty smooth. And this is the other bottom bracket cup removed. Okay, so that is the bottom bracket and crankset removed. I think next we can probably start removing the brakes, and then we go onto the shifter and then the handlebar. So in order to remove the front brake, it's pretty easy. All you need is a 10mm wrench, and there is a nut just behind here. So you just undo it. That's basically all you have to do. So this is the nut, and as you can see the thread is quite long, so it might take a little bit, but that's all you have to do. Remove the washers, and just like that the front brake slides out. I'll put the washer back in and the nut just to keep it all together, just in case in the future I'm going to use these for another project. But that's basically it. For the rear brake, it's pretty much the same thing. You just got the nut behind here, 10mm wrench, and just undo that. And just like that, the rear brake as well is off. Next, I would say we remove the brake cables and then we remove the shifter. So to remove the brake cables, it's pretty easy. Just remove the outer cable and then just remove the inner cable just like that. And it's off. So now the only thing left cable wise is the shifter, and we got the really small nut just behind here. It's not a brazed on shifter, so we just have to undo that little nut. Alright, so this is the nut in question, and it is an 8mm, so we'll just have to carefully undo it. It might be a bit rusty again, like the rest of the bike, but that's the deal with these old bikes. It seems to come loose. Alright. And here we go. So this is the shifter. This is the nut I was undoing, and then at the back there is the bolt. I will just stick there. So now the next thing I'm going to remove bar tape and the levers. So the bar tape, I could cut it off, but I'll try to remove it properly. It looks like they put it on the opposite, or maybe not. It's just all messed up anyway. So I will probably just cut it off. Oh, those are Japanese handlebars. Alps Industrial Company Ltd, Japan. Never heard of it, but anything from Japan is cool, so I'm happy. And now we need to remove these levers, which are Shimano levers, but they feel very flimsy and the quality doesn't seem great. So I think I am going to use the levers I had on that bike behind there. In order to do so, we just got a flathead screw in here. We'll just loose that up, and it will lose these clamp, and it'll just slide out like that. And then last, which I don't know why I left it for last, but it is the little bell there, which still works. We should be able to remove it with just one of them. Here we go. I'll probably keep these as I'm planning to ride this bike around town, and it's quite useful to have a bell. Then I'll probably remove the stem. The bearing on the fork are exceptionally good. The fork are quite steady, but they just pin so freely, which makes me think that I'll probably just leave them as they are. I'm not going to remove them. There is no point in doing that. So we're nearly there now. The only things that needs to be removed are the Seatpost seat, these little cable stops, the cable stop down here and the cable stop at the back. As I said, I'm going to leave the fork as they are. I don't want to bother them at all. So let's just remove the stem and handlebar. I think it's this, yeah. Allen key at the top, just undo it. And this one is loose. If you see that the bolt at the top is just sticking up and this is basically hard to move, just tap with the hammer at the top until it goes down and you should be able to move it just like that. This one is being greased in the past by the look of it, and it looks alright. So at the moment I'll just put it back. I just wanted to take it off just to inspect it. I'll just put it back. And I quite like it low like that. I think it just was a bit too high before. And then last is the seat post and the saddle. I think this is a 13mm spanner I need. I am pleasantly surprised with this bike, as nothing really was trouble to get off. So there was a lot of rusty parts, but they seemed to all be rusty on the surface, because even these seat posts came out pretty easily. So this is the frame, and it's going to be the base for my next project. The idea is to use as many parts as I've got already at home. There is a few things I will have to buy, including the bar tape, some long reach brakes, the bottom bracket, new cables and outer cables, and a couple of adapters just to mount the derailleur, for example, and maybe a cable stop. But other than that, everything I need to build this bike should already be at home. So the next step is just to clean the frame and then crack on with building it. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is not supposed to be me teaching you how to do it, but more like me showing you my way of doing it. It might be wrong, and if you got advice or suggestions, please leave a comment down below. I don't think there is a right or wrong way of doing it. As long as you get everything off the bike, you've done well. Even if you do it the wrong way around, you still manage to do it. And as long as you get everything off, then you've done a good job. I hope you enjoy this video. And if you want to see how this build progress, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. Please like the video and leave a comment down below. It really helps a lot. For this week video, it's all, and I'll see you in the next one.